We are live, and we're currently waiting for YouTube. Okay, still waiting for YouTube. Come on. Come on. Okay, so I think we're live. We'll give it a couple of seconds here. See what happens. See if this is actually going to work tonight. I'm not 100% confident, but we're going to try it. This is our first time going live on YouTube, so fingers crossed. So, how's everyone doing tonight? I look like I'm tired. All these bright lights are not helping the situation any. They're kind of. Here, let me turn my camera around here and I'll show you what I got going on. Oh, I got some lighting set up in here now. So hopefully this is going to work okay. Up there's a camera that we're probably not going to be using tonight. There's the live stream that hasn't changed yet, even though I've changed my camera, so we'll see how long that takes. And there's the laptop that we're going to be working with tonight. Ah, see there, I've popped on. This is very disconcerting. So anyway, welcome everybody, and tonight we're just going to be doing some playing around in TinkerCad. Going to see if I can get my maker coin maybe set up and going a little better. These lights are really harsh. If we can get the coin up and running, then maybe I'll do a short video that I just throw up on YouTube or Facebook tomorrow showing the actual printing of it. So, let's get started. Alright, so I'm just going to set this phone down here. If you have any questions, by all means, just pop them in. Just pop them into YouTube and I will hopefully see those. Okay, now let's wake up the computer. You probably hear the dog barking. That's okay. Alright, so this is TinkerCad. This is a completely free program. So if you're interested in designing stuff and want to try your hand at it, this is a great way to get started. So let me go ahead and get signed in really quick. Okay, so here we are. So as you can see on my screen here, I've already had several attempts at making a coin. Here is the first attempt. Let me just show you real quick what this looks like. And what happened with this one, as it loads here, we're looking at the front of the coin, so let me switch to the top. Let me zoom out a little bit, and then I can come over here and say recenter. There we go. Go back to the top. This one just ended up being too small. This is a 30mm disc. Again, you can hear my puppy. Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. So this is a 30mm disc here, and it ended up being too small. So we ended up going back to the drawing board. And that's when we started with the 40mm coin. And that's what this one is. And you can even see it's loading a little slow down here. You can see it says loading. I seriously hope that we're still live and not locked up on YouTube. So this one worked pretty well, but what the problem is all of this detail that's needing to be printed in this coin that's so small. So that's when I decided to go back one more time and try yet. It says fourth because I ended up doing some things differently and didn't save my third one. So this is the fourth one. I think it worked better because what I did was I went in for the image that I have for the headshot and I made some corrections. So you can see a lot of that detail now in the hair and along the face line. Here, a lot of that detail is gone. So this one really did work out better, but still not great. So we're going to start from scratch, and we're going to start with a maker coin number 5. So we're going to create a new design, and when you create a new design, if you don't remember to name it something, it gives it this really wild and silly name. So we're going to name this maker coin 5. So maker coin 5. Whoops, sorry, 5. And I have a feeling that we are completely and totally locked up and not working. So sorry about that, but not much I can do. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna scrap this. Okay, so there are definitely some issues with how, yeah, there are some issues, technology issues with my setup here. So we're just going to see if we can get through this. I don't know if we're going to be able to or not. Let me see if I can go out. Okay, this is working. So anyway, what I was talking about were my first 3, basically 4 attempts at making the maker coin for the Maker Nerd. The first one was too small. The second one, I enlarged from 30 millimeters to 40 millimeters on the coin, so that helped. But a lot of this detail right here made the printing not go so great. So the next thing I did was decided to go in and get rid of a lot of that detail. You'll be able to see this right here if I look at the top. Now you can see a lot of that detail is gone, so now the printer doesn't have to work quite so hard to render all of that detail. However, it still didn't come out the way that I wanted it to. So we're going to try, at this point, making a 5th coin. So this is TinkerCad.com. It is a totally free, in the cloud software that you can use if you think you might want to play around with designing. And so this is what I would suggest starting with and not investing in any software. So let's go ahead to our Maker Coin 5, and we'll go ahead and hit the Tinker This button. And what you'll notice is I already changed the file name up here. It gives it a really strange file name if you don't do that, and it saves it that way. So just be sure and save the file name. Over here is basically how you control the grid that you're looking at. So if you hit top, you're looking at the top. If you hit one of these arrows, then you're going to get a face-on view of the front, or of the right side, or of the back, or of the left side, or of the bottom. So let's get this flipped back around. And let's go back to the top. But now if you don't want to complete, if you do it where you just barely see that, then you get an angled view. So that works out pretty well. So to start this, we're going to come over here on the right hand side and we're going to grab a cylinder and we're just going to drop it. So there's our cylinder. Now I'm going to go to the view where I can kind of see an angled view. All of these corners here are your sizes. See, when they turn red, they give you the sizes. So we've got a perfectly round cylinder. This is our height size. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to just click on that so that these sizes stay here. And we're going to change this to our 40 by 40. Because I think that's a good size for the coin, so we're going to stick with that. Now over here, you'll see the sides are only, let me zoom in a little bit and see if you can see this a little better. Okay. You see how the sides aren't completely round? And that's because the sides here. So I'm going to go ahead and max that out to 64 so that the coin is completely round for us. Now the other thing that you'll notice, I'm just going to hide this shape for a second and maybe zoom out just a little bit. That's way too thick for a coin, right? So I'm going to click the height button, and it's still at 20. And what I had been making these at was 4 millimeters, but I think I'm going to back off that a little bit, and I think I'm going to make it 3 millimeters. Okay? So now that's about the thickness of a coin, right? So we're going to go ahead and bring this back. I don't like working with the orange, so I'm going to make it maybe this color right here so that it's something a little better to work with. Okay, so now we've got our coin. But the next thing we have to do is we have to bring in the image that you see on those previous coins. So the way that you do this is you have to be able to turn your image into an SVG file. So it has to have the extension .svg. Now, there are several websites that can do this for you. They can take any JPEG or any PNG and they can convert it to an SVG file. And so that's what I did. I used one of those websites to automatically convert it, and we can go ahead and import that here. Let's see if we can find the right file to import. It's going to be... should be in this, and we just have to find, let's see if we can find the one that we cleaned up. Dun, 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 dun. I wonder if it's this one. Nope, has to be this one. The Maker Nerd Coin 4, I'm sure is what that's supposed to say. Let's choose that and see what we get. May not be what we want, but I have a feeling it is. Oh, nope, that is not what we want. That is the text. So we're going to trash that, select a different file. And of course, it, you know, this is a Windows machine. It never goes back where you started at. Okay. Nick.com. Maybe it's this black and white version. Let's try this one. Yep, that's the one. See, I got rid of all the details and stuff in the hair. So we're going to click Art just because it crops it down the way you want it. And obviously, we don't want it 941 millimeters since our coin is only 40. So we're going to take it at about, let's try 24 and see how that imports. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring that in. It'll take it just a second to import it. Okay, so there's the image. So we're just going to slide that off to the side right now. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to import the writing at the bottom. I think that's what we were looking at the first time. So let's just go ahead and slide down here. Nope, too far. Okay, so that's this one. So let's go ahead and bring that one in too. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and say Art, just so that it does any cropping that's necessary. And let's bring it in at let's bring it in at like 30 and see what we get. We can always resize it once it comes in. We just need to get it down to size a little bit. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely too big, but that's okay. We can work with that. Oops, let's select it, bring it down here, and then we're going to grab the corner, and I think it's if I hold the shift key, it sizes it as one instead of making it all slightly whopper drawn. So let's take it. Okay, we're still a little too big. So let's size this down a little more. Oops, sorry. Don't want to select all of that yet. I'm gonna take that. Okay, so that's looking pretty decent for the size. Let's look at it from the top. And then if you come down here and it says snap grid, it's at 1 millimeter, so you can just like use your arrow keys and see how it's moving over fast. So we're gonna actually make it at like 0.1 so that the changes we make aren't that drastic. So we're just, I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, we're going to leave that there for now. I will probably make some adjustments to that later on, but I'm not going to do it right now. So let me come over here and grab the face, and I'm just going to drag it on top. And that's actually looking like a pretty decent size for that as well. So you've got enough space around it. So now if we look at it from an angle though, so see I got the little blue thing instead of the blue arrow, so that'll show us the angle. If I look at it from the angle, you can see clearly that this stuff is sitting way higher than the coin, right? And I think that's part of the problem. I think what I want to do this time is the 3D printer will already lay down plastic before it cuts this image out or before it renders this image. But I think what I want to do is actually embed the image completely in the coin so that there's only like maybe 1 or 2 top layers that also get printed above it. I just want to see what that's going to look like. So in order to do that, right, remember how we were looking at our different things, and this is the one for the height, and as you can see it's 10, so I'm just going to click it, and then I'm going to come over here, and we know our coin is 3 millimeters, right? So let's make this, okay, before I make this 2.5, because when I make it 2.5, we're going to lose sight of it. I need to make this, I need to come up here, and you see how it's still a solid? I need to make it a hole. And what this will do is it'll actually cut it out from the purple disc. So I'm going to make that a hole. See how that changed that? And I'm going to come down here and see if I can grab just the words. So if I can just get on it right there. Okay, so now I need to make that a hole as well. Because if I don't make those holes, it won't cut it out of the coin. Alright, so now that that's done, I think we are going to, I'm going to look at this from the front. Right? And I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to make this 2.5. And hit enter. And so now you can see it's just below the surface of the top of the coin. And so then I'm going to select this. Let me go back to the top view. And I'm going to select that. And now I'm going to go back to a side view. And I'm going to hit the height. And I'm going to make this a 2.5 as well. Okay? So now as you can see, we can no longer visually see those images. But what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to, let's just, before I do that, this thing has to be grouped together. But yeah, I can't group it, so let me go ahead and redo, because I can't group it until these things are sized. Alright, so they're sized. Now I'm just going to draw a box around this whole thing, and I'm going to say to group it. And by doing that, it now knows to treat this file as a whole, and when I go to print it, it will actually, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. I actually don't know if this is going to work at all. Because when it prints that top layer on top, I don't know how it's going to handle the cutouts that are beneath it. So that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. So yeah, that's basically the creating of the coin. I don't have to do a save on this or anything because it constantly saves it as I work on it. I will export it for 3D printing. So I hit the export. My 3D printers do STL files. So I'm going to tell it to do that. And it's a MakerCoin 5 STL. And I am just going to drop it into the Maker Nerd folder. And I'm going to say to save it there. And so now it's saved as an STL file, and all I'll have to do is shoot it over to one of my printers and see what kind of a mess it creates. So this is just a really quick video tutorial on this tonight. TinkerCad is a wonderful program to get started with and to play with. I will definitely let you know how this particular coin prints. I've been thinking about this a lot and wanting to try this method to see how it works. So I'll let you know how it turns out. I'll print one and I'll go online briefly to show you how it turns out. So, with all of that said, thanks everybody for watching this video after the fact. I don't believe we had any people watching live, but there was quite a bit of technical difficulty, so I can definitely understand that. So thanks to everyone, and we'll see you on the flip side.